It was a cold night. The sky was dark, and the stars looked small and far. The streets were empty, silent. But something strange happened near the edge of the city. A bright light appeared in the sky. It moved fast, not like an airplane, not like anything human. The light came down slowly and stopped in the middle of an empty road. It was a spaceship. The ship was silver and smooth. It made no sound, just a low hum. A door opened with a hiss. 2 tall alien figures stepped out.
They were
wearing long white coats like doctors. Their faces were thin, eyes large and dark. Their skin looked blue under the moonlight. They were carrying something. No, someone. It was a girl, an alien girl. Her body was small and weak. She was wrapped in a thin silver blanket. Her eyes were closed. She looked sick, maybe dying. The doctors looked at her, then at each other. They spoke in a strange language. Their voices were flat and cold. After a few moments, one of them shook his head. They placed the girl gently on the ground, on the cold street. She didn't move. Then, without looking back, they walked into the spaceship and left her there. The ship rose slowly, glowing bright again. With a loud whoosh, it flew up into the sky and disappeared. Silence returned, but someone was watching. At a distance, a man stood behind a broken fence. He had seen the whole thing. His name was Max. He was in his late 30s, wearing a jacket and carrying a flashlight. He was walking home from his night shift when he saw the light in the sky. Now he ran toward the girl. He reached her and knelt down. His hands were shaking. Double quotes. "Hey, can you hear me?" he asked, touching her shoulder. The girl didn't answer. Max looked at her face. She wasn't human. Her skin had a faint purple glow. Her hair was silver white, but her features were soft. Almost like a child. She was breathing, but barely. Max looked around. No one else was there. "Why would they leave you here?" he whispered. Suddenly the girl's eyes opened. They were bright and shining like stars. She looked at Max. Lips moved, but only one word came out. "Help." Max's heart jumped. He didn't know who she was, or what she was, but she was alive. And she needed help. But where could he take her? A hospital? No. They would panic. They would lock her away. Scientists would come. She would become an experiment. Had to think fast. He gently picked her up in his arms. She was light, almost like a feather. "I'll help you," he whispered. "Just hold on." Max ran to his old car. He opened the door and laid her on the back seat. He started the engine and drove away. He didn't drive toward the hospital. He took a different road. One that led to a small building on the edge of town, a place most people didn't think about at night. It was a vet clinic. The lights were off, but Max knew someone was there. He parked outside and banged on the door. "Lisa!" he shouted. "Open up. I need you." A light turned on inside. A woman in her 40s opened the door. She looked tired, holding a cup of tea. Her name was Dr. Lisa Hart. She was a vet who worked with animals. "Max, what's wrong?" she asked. "It's an emergency," he said. "Not an animal, not human either. You just have to trust me." Lisa raised an eyebrow. "What are you?" "Talking a boo, just come," Max said. She followed him to the car. When she looked inside, she gasped. "Oh my God." "I found her," Max said. "Or maybe she found me, I don't know. But I can't take her to a hospital." Lisa didn't speak. She opened the door and helped carry the girl inside. In the exam room, Lisa checked the girl's pulse. It was weak. Her body temperature was strange cold, but glowing. Her skin had no wounds, but something was clearly wrong inside. "Is she alien?" Lisa asked quietly. Max nodded. Lisa looked at the girl's face. "Why would they leave her here like this?" "I don't know," Max said. "But we can't leave her to die." The girl's eyes opened again. She looked at both of them. Her voice was soft, tired. They said, "I was broken." Her head fell back. She lost consciousness again. Lisa looked at Max. "We don't have much time. We're going to save her. We need to try now." Max nodded. Let's do it. And as they worked quickly in that small vet clinic, two humans trying to save an alien girl, neither of them knew what was really coming. Outside, the stars watched in silence. Somewhere, far away, others were watching too. Rain started to fall. It was soft at first, just a whisper on the roof of the small vet clinic. But then it grew louder, like the sky itself wanted to drown the night in water inside. Max stood by the metal exam table, breathing hard, watching Lisa move with quiet focus. Her hand shook a little, but her eyes stayed sharp. Years of saving sick dogs and injured cats had trained her well, but this was something else entirely. The alien girl lay unconscious. Her skin still glowed faintly under the light. Her pulse was too slow. Her breathing uneven. Her body looked fragile, like it wasn't made for Earth. Max wiped his wet hands on his jacket and stepped forward. Is she still alive? Lisa didn't answer right away. She pressed a small stethoscope to the girl's chest. Her eyes narrowed. She's alive, barely. Her heartbeat is strange. It's not just fast or slow. It changes like it's learning. Max frowned. Learning, Lisa whispered. Like it doesn't know how to beat properly on this planet. Max looked at the alien girl. Her face was calm now, like she was just sleeping. He still couldn't believe what he was seeing. Do you think they left her here on purpose, Lisa? Looked up. What do you mean? The ones who brought her. The doctors or whatever they were. They just left her on the street like trash. Lisa looked down again at the girl. Maybe they thought she was going to die. Maybe they didn't. Want to carry a broken thing home? Max clenched his jaw. She's not broken. They gave up on her. Lisa didn't reply. She pulled out a small scanner from a drawer. It's normally used for checking microchips in pets. She waved it slowly over the girl's body. Beep beep bip dot bip dot 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 dot. Sound stopped near the girl's side. Lisa paused. There, under the skin, something was glowing faintly. Small light like a tiny star buried inside her. Max leaned in. What's that? I don't know. It's not metal and it's not natural either. It's warm, like a living thing. Lisa grabbed a small surgical tool. If I can just make a tiny cut, maybe I can see it better. Before she could touch the skin, the girl's eyes shot open. Max stepped back. Lisa froze. The girl stared at the ceiling, then slowly turned her head toward them. Her voice was dry, weak, but clear. Don't. Take it out. Lisa lowered the tool. Okay, we won't. I promise. The girl blinked slowly, her breath shaking. They put it there to watch me, to control me. Max's voice was soft. Who did? The girl looked at him. My own kind. Said I was too weak for this planet. They said if I failed, I would be left behind. Lisa moved closer, her voice gentle. What's your name? The girl paused, then said. Zero. Max repeated it quietly. Zero, why were you here? Zero's eyes closed for a moment. I was supposed to help. I studied medicine. I wanted to learn how to heal your kind. Earth is different. My body couldn't take it. She opened her eyes again, and a tear, clear and glowing, ran down her cheek. They didn't even try to help me. They just left. Max felt something stir inside him. Anger, not at her, but at them. At whoever had made the decision to give up on her? Well, he said, we're not going to do that. Zero looked at him with confusion. Why would you help me? Max smiled a little. Because leaving someone to die alone. That's not what we do. Lisa nodded. We'll do everything we can. Zero closed her eyes again. Her body relaxed. Thank you. For a moment, the room was quiet. Only the rain tapping on the windows then. Something changed. The machines next to the exam table started to flicker. The lights in the room dimmed. A strange low sound filled the air like a distant hum or whisper. Zira's body began to glow brighter. Not just her skin, but the space around her, like the air itself, was changing. Lisa took a step back. What's happening? Max reached for Zira's hand. Zira. Her eyes opened, but they were no longer the same. They glowed fully now, pure white, like light itself. I'm not dying, she said. I'm becoming something else. Machine next to her beeped wildly. A small screen showed symbols, not English, not any human language, symbols that moved and reshaped themselves. Zira spoke again, her voice stronger now. The device inside me, it's waking up. Max looked at the screen. What does it want? Zira's voice dropped to a whisper. To find others. Lisa blinked. Others? You mean more like you? Zira said, her voice distant. Others not like me, not like you, older, hidden. Max felt cold all of a sudden. Hidden where? Zira turned her head and stared through the wall, as if she could see beyond it. Here, outside, the rain stopped, and above the clouds, something began to move. The sky was clear now, not a single cloud moved above the city, as if the rain had never happened. But Max wasn't looking at the sky. He was watching Zira, lying on the clinic table, glowing gently like a candle in the dark. Her breathing had steadied, her eyes were half open, glowing faintly. But she wasn't just resting. She was listening. Watching something they couldn't see, Max leaned closer. Zira, what did you mean? Others, hidden here. She blinked slowly, her lips dry. Not all who came to Earth left. Lisa stood behind Max, arms folded tightly across her chest. You mean aliens have been here before? Zira nodded weakly. Thousands of years ago, before humans built cities, before they spoke your language. Max felt a strange weight in his chest. And you're connected to them? No, Zira said. Not before, but now. Something in me is changing. The device inside. It's not just a tracker. It's waking up my mind, showing me things I never knew. Her hand moved slightly, trembling as she pointed at the scanner next to her. I can see what's inside it now. Maps, coordinates, a message. Lisa stepped forward and looked at the screen. The symbols were still shifting, glowing blue shapes that twisted into patterns and moved like they were alive. I've never seen anything like this, she whispered. Zira's voice was distant. It's not for your eyes, it's written. In thought, not words. Max frowned. Then how do you understand it? Zira looked at him. Because it was meant for me? Or someone like me? There was a pause. Then slowly she sat up. Lisa moved to stop her. No, you're not ready. But Zira's body moved with strange ease. Like her bones were lighter, like gravity had less control. Her bare feet touched the cold floor. She didn't even shiver. I have to show you, she said softly. I saw it in my dream. No, my memory. It's real. It's still here. Max exchanged a look with Lisa. What is? Zira turned her glowing eyes to him. The place they left behind. Max hesitated. You mean your people? No, Zira whispered. Not my people. It's the ones they fear. The ones who stayed. Lisa took a step back. Zira, are you sure this isn't a side effect? You've been sick? Maybe your mind is just, I'm not sick anymore, Zira said calmly. I was dying because my body was incomplete. The device fixed that.
How? It wasn't?
Just monitoring me. It was rewriting me. Max looked at her carefully. Rewriting? Zira nodded. I was made in a lab, not born. They grew me, taught me. But they built limits into my body walls and my blood and bones. The device broke those walls.
Now?
I can feel something else. Something older waking up inside me. Lisa shook her head. This is insane. Zira stepped toward her slowly. It's real, and it's dangerous. If I can feel it, then others can too. The ones who put this device. In me, they'll come looking for it. For me, Max suddenly remembered the night sky, the strange lights before the spaceship left. You said they abandoned you. But what if they didn't? What if they're still watching? Zira closed her eyes for a second. They are. I can feel them out there, cold minds, from above, waiting to see what I become. Max felt a chill run down his spine. Then we don't have time. He grabbed his keys. You said you saw something someplace. Show me. Zira looked uncertain. It's not close. How far? A few hours by land? A desert, a place with no name in your maps. Lisa crossed her arms. You're just going to leave? What if this is a trap? Max turned to her. Then I'd rather walk into it than sit here doing nothing. Lisa bit her lip, thinking hard. Then she sighed. Fine, I'm coming too. They packed quickly. Max took supplies. Lisa brought medical gear. Zero stood in silence, wrapped. In a thick coat to hide her glow, she didn't speak much, only giving quiet directions as they drove into the night. The city lights faded behind them. Darkness stretched out across the land, no signs, no people, only silence. After hours of driving, the road turned into dry dirt. The tires bounced over rocks and sand. Zira finally raised her hand. Stop here. They got out of the car. Before them, the desert stretched like a black ocean. Nothing moved. No wind, no stars. Then Zira walked forward. Max followed, flashlight in hand. Lisa stayed close, her eyes scanning the horizon, and then they saw it. Half buried under the sand was a large, flat stone covered in symbols. The same ones from the scanner. Zira dropped to her knees beside it. She placed her hand on the surface. A low rumble shook the ground. Max stepped back. What the hell? Lines of blue light crawled across the stone, forming a circle. Then, with a deep groan, the sand around it began to shift. Something massive was waking up. A door. Not a normal door. A circular hatch. Ancient and glowing, slowly opening into the earth. Zero looked at Max and Lisa. Her voice was calm. This is what they left behind, Lisa whispered. Who? Zero looked down into the dark hole. The first ones, the wind, picked up. The sky above shimmered strangely, and deep below something blinked, waiting. The sound of grinding stone echoed through the silence, deep and slow. Like the earth itself was exhaling after holding its breath for 1,000 years, dust rose in clouds. Max covered his mouth with his sleeve, squinting into the glowing circle. In the ground, the opening wasn't just a door, it was a warning. The blue light pulsed from within, not bright, soft, steady, like a heartbeat. Zira stepped toward it, her expression calm, almost peaceful. Her glow matched the pulse, like she was part of it. Connected, Lisa stared at the hole. How far down does it go? Zira didn't answer. Knelt beside the opening and placed her hand near the edge. The light inside grew brighter in response. The symbols on the stone around them began to shift, moving like liquid metal. Arranging themselves into a path, Max took a step closer and looked inside. A long staircase spiraled down into the darkness. The steps were made of the same stone as the outer ring smooth, untouched by time or weather. It was too perfect to be ancient, and too old to be new. Are we really going in there? Lisa whispered. Zira stood slowly. It's not a place. It's a memory. And now it's awake. Max looked at her. You said this was left by the first ones? What are we going to find down there? Zira's eyes glowed softly. Answers.
Ass.
Maybe more. She started down the steps without hesitation. Max followed, flashlight in hand. Lisa took one last look. At the desert behind them, empty, quiet, peaceful, and stepped into the hole. The moment they entered, the door began to close behind them. It didn't slam shut. It moved with grace, like it had all the time in the world. It's no escape, no turning back. The air grew colder as they descended. Max could hear the soft hum of the walls, not electricity. Something deeper, almost alive. Each step echoed strangely, like the sound bent in the air. The deeper they went, the more Max felt like they were leaving Earth behind. Zero walked ahead, her body glowing just enough to light the way. She didn't need the flashlight. Her feet knew where to go. They reached the bottom after several minutes. The staircase ended in a vast room. It stretched so far in every direction that Max couldn't see the walls. The floor was glassy black, but it wasn't glass. When he stepped on it, it rippled slightly, like liquid that remembered how to stay solid. Floating above the surface were dozens, maybe hundreds of shapes. Towers, obelisks, floating cubes. All glowing faintly blue. It's all covered in moving symbols, Lisa whispered. What is this place? Zero walked to the nearest cube. She placed her palm on it. The symbol stopped moving. A light burst upward, forming a hologram in the air. Max stared. At it, a spinning planet, not Earth, darker, covered in green clouds. "That's not us," he said. Zero nodded. "That was home long before mine, long before yours." The image changed. The planet exploded. Not like in movies. There was no fireball. It simply folded in on itself, vanishing. Lisa stepped closer, her voice tight. "What happened to it?" Zira looked at her, her voice quiet. "Hey, they made a mistake." The image changed again, now showing creatures. Tall, thin, made of light and bone. Not solid, not human. Their faces were blurred, always shifting. They were called the First Ones. No, they came from the edge of time. They didn't live. They existed. Pure thought. They built worlds, shaped stars, taught life how to grow. But they feared one thing. Max frowned. "What?" Death looked at him. "Death?" The room darkened. The cube showed another image of these beings trying to trap their thoughts inside machines. They tried to stop time, trap themselves in code. But something went wrong. One by one they disappeared, Max whispered. "They destroyed themselves." Zero shook her head. "No, they became something else. Something lost, something waiting." A strange sound filled the room. A low growl, not from any animal, but from the walls themselves. Like something ancient had just noticed them. Lisa turned in a slow circle. "What is that?" Zira's face grew tense. "We're not alone anymore." Max pulled his flashlight up and shined it around the room behind one of the tall towers. Something moved. A shape, not a person, not a creature. A shadow that didn't belong to anything. Then another, and another. Zira took a step back. "This place is not empty. It never was," Lisa hissed. "You said it was a memory." "It is," Zira said, "but some memories can remember you back." The cubes around them began to pulse faster. The light was changing color from blue to orange. Then red dot warning. Max felt his chest tighten. "What do we do?" Zira raised her hand. "Let me try." She stepped forward and closed her eyes. The device in her side began to glow through her coat. A strange hum filled the room. The floating cubes stopped moving. The shadows paused. Hum turned into a voice. A deep, layered sound, not male or female, not even language, was thought turned into sound. Zero translated softly. "Hybrid accepted." Lisa blinked. "Hybrid." Zero opened her eyes. "Me." Max looked at her. "What does it want?" Zero looked up at the floating lights. "It wants me to finish what they started." The ground shook, and something deep below them began to open its eyes. The sound was not loud, but it filled everything. A pulse. A thump so deep that Max felt it in his teeth, his bones like a drum beating from under the ground. The floating lights above them flickered, spinning faster. The floor beneath there. Feet rippled again, like it was breathing. Lisa backed away, her voice tight. "Zira, what is waking up?" Zira stood still, eyes glowing white, arms slightly raised. She wasn't afraid. Not exactly. But she wasn't calm either. She looked smaller now, standing in that massive glowing chamber surrounded by ancient machines and silent shadows. The air felt heavier, as if the place had noticed them and was trying to decide whether they belonged. Zira lowered her arms slowly. Her voice was soft. They called it the archive. It was supposed to hold only knowledge. But something else grew in here, something they couldn't erase. Okay, Max took a step forward. "What kind of something?" Zira turned to him, and for the first time, he saw fear in her eyes. Real fear. A mind. But not like yours or mine. It doesn't think, it waits. Suddenly, the walls began to shift, not physically, but visually, like someone had peeled back layers of paint to reveal another image underneath. Now, the smooth stone turned dark and stormy. Strange faces appeared in the black glass, half seen, flickering like memories caught in static. Then a voice rang out. It wasn't human. It wasn't alien. It wasn't even a voice, not truly. It was more like pressure, like thoughts forced. Into their heads all at once, it said only 3 words. She does not belong. Max staggered back, clutching his ears. Lisa dropped to one knee, shaking her head. But Zero stood her ground. I do now, she said aloud. You changed me. The glowing pillars turned red. The voice came again, louder this time. She carries the broken code. Lisa stood slowly, face pale. What does that mean? Zero closed her eyes. When they made me. My creators copied ancient code, DNA thought structures. They didn't understand it. They didn't know it was alive. Max's voice was hoarse. You mean there's a living program inside you? No, Zero said quietly. I am the program now. Before they could respond, the chamber shook. A long hallway appeared to their left, formed from shifting glass and light. At the far end, a new door opened, wide, round, and pitch black. A soft wind blew from it, even though they were underground. Zero looked at Max and Lisa. It wants to test me. Lisa shook her head. Test you how? Zero didn't answer. She simply walked toward the hall. Max hesitated for only a moment before following. Lisa came last, her hands still trembling. As they moved, the lights above shifted from red to purple, casting long shadows across the strange surfaces. Inside the hall, the temperature dropped. The black walls showed images as they walked. Earth, but not as they knew it. Ancient forests, filled with creatures no history book had ever mentioned. Oceans boiling with strange machines. Cities buried under deserts. Max stopped at one image. It showed a mountain, one he recognized. But in the image, it was cracked open, and inside was a massive black structure, shaped like a heart. This is Earth, he whispered. But not now. Lisa stared at another image. This isn't history. This is memory. Zira nodded. The archive stores all things, even forgotten futures. They reached the end of the hall. The dark doorway yawned ahead of them. Zira turned. Only I can go through, Max frowned. Says who? The archive, she said. If you step through that door, it will erase you. Lisa didn't question it. Her face was pale, and her eyes were fixed on the black doorway. Something about it felt wrong. It wasn't just darkness. It was absence. Like light had never touched what lay beyond, Max stepped forward. I'm not letting you go alone. Zira placed a hand on his chest. You've done enough. You gave me a choice when they didn't. Max looked into her eyes. They were glowing brighter now, almost too bright to look at. Something inside her was shifting. She was no longer just a lost girl on the street. She was becoming something else. I'll come back, she said. And then she stepped into the dark. The moment. Her foot crossed the line, the door sealed shut. No sound, no flash, just gone. Max stood in silence. Lisa stared at the closed wall. Now what? I don't know, Max whispered. Inside the chamber, Zira walked forward. There was no floor, only light under her feet. No walls, no sky, only emptiness. The air was thick with voices, not talking, thinking. Every step she took, the voices grew louder. They showed her things. She saw her creators, standing around her as she grew inside a tank. She saw Earth from above, burning slowly under invisible hands. She saw Max holding her outside the clinic, saying, I'll help you. And then she saw something else. A machine, tall as a mountain, buried under Earth's crust, still alive. Waiting, Zira felt something enter her mind. Not words, not language, just a choice. Open the seal, leave Earth blind forever. Zero stood. Still, her heart was not racing. Her mind was not afraid. She spoke one word, yes, and far above her, deep under desert stone, something ancient opened its eyes for the first time in a million years, and smiled. The desert shook. At first it was just a low vibration, like a distant engine running underground. But then the sand began to ripple, shift, and rise in waves that had no wind behind them. Max took a step back from the sealed black wall where Zero had disappeared. The ground beneath his boots moved like a living thing. Lisa stumbled, catching herself against one of the glowing pillars. "What the hell is happening? I don't know," Max said. But he could feel it. Something had changed. Not just here, in this place, but everywhere. As if the moment Zira said yes, Earth had heard her. A bright light shot up from the center of the underground hall. It wasn't sunlight. It came from the floor, the ceiling, the air itself. All the floating shapes that once drifted in silence now spun wildly, flashing in colors Max had never seen before. Not red, not blue, not anything the human eye was meant to process. Lisa covered her ears as a high-pitched tone filled the room, though nothing touched their skin. It was sound that felt like thought. The archive was speaking again, but this time, not just to Zira, it was speaking to the planet. Max looked up. "She's doing this." She woke it up, but Lisa shook her head. No, it was never asleep. It was just waiting. And above ground, things were changing fast. In cities far away, strange lights appeared in the sky. Silent beams of blue-green. Energy floated over oceans and mountains. Satellites lost their signal. Phones stopped working. Clocks reset to 0. No one understood what was happening, but every person on Earth felt something shift inside them, as if the ground beneath human history had cracked. Back in the chamber, the black wall began to shimmer. Lisa's breath caught. Look, the surface didn't open like before. It melted. The doorway folded into itself like paper turning into smoke, and from that smoke, Zero walked out. But she wasn't the same. She looked taller. Maybe that was just the way she stood, perfectly straight, like her body no longer carried weight. Her coat was gone, her skin glowing brighter than ever, soft violet with threads of gold under her skin, like lightning trapped in glass. Her hair floated slightly in the air, as if gravity had lost interest in her. Her eyes, they weren't just glowing now. They burned like stars, not hot, not fire. Just endless. Max stepped toward her. Zira. She looked at him and smiled, faint and calm. But her voice had changed. Still hers, but layered. Like two people speaking at once, or maybe more. "It's done," she said. Lisa moved closer, eyes wide. "What's done?" Zira turned and looked toward the far wall of the chamber. It began to open, slowly behind it. Something huge moved. Not a machine. Not quite. It looked like a structure. A giant column of dark metal, covered in flowing lights and ancient patterns. Pulsed like a heartbeat. It was buried deep, maybe even under the entire desert. The ceiling above it cracked and folded away, revealing more of it like the tip of something far larger beneath the planet. Max stared. "Is that part of the archive?" Zira shook her head. "No, that's Earth's inheritance." Lisa frowned. "What does that mean?" Zira took a slow breath. "Long ago, before humans walked, the first ones built it. They placed these machines under many worlds. They believed these would protect life when they were gone, but most were lost. Broken. This one stayed hidden, waiting for a mind that could unlock it," Max asked. "And that's you?" Zira turned to him.
Ow.
"It's us." Before they could ask, the machine behind her powered up. A shockwave burst from the pillar. Not wind, not energy. Something deeper. The walls around them lit up with moving images earthed through the ages, forests growing, ice melting. Rising, bombs falling, everything. The machine wasn't just showing the past, it was scanning it, understanding it, and then looked ahead. It showed Earth in ruin, skies blackened, crushed by invisible storms. A dark web crawling across the surface like something alive was eating the planet. Lisa stared. "That's the future." Zero nodded. The archive didn't just store memories. It saw what might come, and it saw what will. Max shook his head. "Then how do we stop it?" Zira turned to him, serious now. Her voice dropped lower. "That depends on what I choose next." Lisa stepped forward. You already chose. You said yes. Zira looked at her. That was the first choice. There's another. Now that the system is awake, it needs a guide, a mind it can trust. I was made to be that mind. I'm not the only one they made. Max frowned. What are you saying? Zira looked up. They're coming, the others. The ones who were watching from above. They never stopped building hybrids. Some are still out there like me. But not all of them. Want to protect this world? The ground rumbled again. Zira walked toward the machine. The light around her grew brighter. Max and Lisa shielded their eyes. When they arrived, she said, they'll try to take control of this system. To use it, change Earth for themselves. Lisa stepped forward. Then we need to warn people. We need to prepare. Zira turned her glowing eyes to them one last time. There's no time left. They're already here. And then, far above the desert in orbit, hidden behind clouds, a dozen black ships began to descend. The sky cracked open, not with thunder, not with sound, but with silence. A silence so loud, it pressed on the bones of every creature below. All over Earth, people looked up and froze. Daylight dimmed, shadows grew longer. Birds stopped mid-flight. Engines stalled. Screens turned black dot above the clouds. 12 ships hovered, not sleek, not beautiful, but shaped like scars. Black, uneven, made of shifting panels that didn't reflect the sun. They didn't flash warnings or fire weapons. They simply arrived. Slowly, as if they already owned the sky. Max watched them from the desert ridge, eyes wide, hand shielding his face from the strange glow raining down. Lisa stood beside him, frozen. They're not attacking, she said. Quietly, not yet, Max replied. Behind them, deep inside the archive, Zero stood at the base of the great tower. Her body glowed brighter than ever, arms outstretched, golden veins of energy pulsing under her skin like rivers of light. Her hair floated around her head like a halo. She no longer looked alien. She no longer looked human. She looked like something new. The machine beside her hummed with deep power. Light rippled up and down its surface. Symbols danced, forming questions, choices, warnings. Zira could hear them all. Voices of old builders, ghosts of the first ones. And now they whispered guidance into her mind, but Zira wasn't listening to them anymore. She was listening to the silence. Max stepped forward. What are they waiting for? Zira didn't turn to him. They're watching me. Lisa narrowed her eyes. You said they made others like you? How many? I don't know, Zira said. I was one of the last, but not the only one, to survive. Lisa's voice was quiet. And not all of them want to protect Earth. Zira nodded. Then suddenly movement in the sky. One of the ships lowered, and then another. They weren't just here to observe. They were landing. Zira walked toward the exit of the archive. The ground shook gently with each step. Max tried to follow, but something stopped him. Not a wall, not force, just instinct. He understood now. She had gone beyond him. Outside, the desert wind picked up. Sky pulsed with low, unnatural light. Far across the horizon, dust began to rise. Something else was coming fast. A shape appeared through the haze. Not a ship. A person. Zira stopped walking. The figure was tall, wearing armor made of black crystal, shifting like smoke. His face was hidden behind a mask. Not metal, not glass, something living, pulsing faintly with red light. He didn't walk like a man. He moved like time bent around him. Zira knew his name before he spoke. Kareth, she said. His voice echoed without echo. Zira, the failed one. They said you were erased. I was left, she replied. He tilted his head slightly. And now you stand as the key. I stand for this world. Kareth took a step forward. You should not. It is not yours, Zira. Didn't move. It wasn't yours either. It's not until you decided to burn it. Max and Lisa watched from the cliff above, unable to move, barely able to breathe. The two hybrids stood just meters apart. The machine behind Zira pulsed faster. It will choose a guide, Kareth said. It must, and only one of us will survive. I'm not afraid of you, Zero said. Kareth raised one hand. The ground exploded between them. A wave of force rolled. Out like a shockwave. Max ducked. Lisa screamed. The entire desert floor cracked like glass. Zero flew backward but landed softly, floating an inch above the ground. When she rose again, she was brighter than ever. Kareth charged. They clashed, not with weapons, but with will. Energy burst between them, blinding. Light collided with shadow. The ground split wider. The archive behind them screamed like a dying star, trying to contain the power building inside it. Zira, struck with pure thought, memory, feeling, love. Kareth struck with control. With cold purpose, with centuries of stored rage, and for a moment it seemed he would win. Zira fell. Her light dimmed. The device in her chest flickered. Max saw it happen and yelled her name. She looked up at him, broken, glowing faintly. And then she smiled because she remembered she wasn't alone. Not anymore. Max had helped her when no one else would. Lisa had treated her like a living being, not a weapon. Earth had accepted her. She had learned kindness, hope, trust, and that was something Kareth had never known. Zero rose again. This time, the light came not just from her, but from the land around her. The archive responded. The sky lit up. A massive beam shot upward from the desert, straight through the clouds, tearing into the sky like a blade of white fire. All 12 ships paused. Some began to retreat. Others cracked, their strange metal breaking apart as if the planet itself rejected them. Kareth screamed. The ground swallowed him, not with fire, not with death, but with silence. He was erased, forgotten. The desert went still. The beam faded. Zira fell to her knees. Max ran to her, catching her just before she hit the ground. Lisa rushed in too, checking her pulse. Zira's eyes opened, no longer glowing, just human. You did it, Max said softly. Zira shook her head. We did. Above them, the sky began to clear. The black ships were gone, and deep underground. The archive returned to sleep, not broken, not forgotten, watching again, remembering for the first time in a long time. Earth was quiet, but now it remembered its past, and it had chosen its future.